Hello, in this video we're looking at issue 26 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine, at the new Tech-Priest Dominus we got with the issue, and learning how he can lead our Mechanicus forces. Hello, I'm Mike and this is Will. We are the Tabletop Donkeys.
Hello.
And we're looking at issue 26 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine today. And with this issue we get a Tech-Priest Dominus, part of the Adeptus Mechanicus. So if you want to see him in action, you can use the time code in the description or the chapter bars. We'll have a brief look through the issue first. So obviously you have the battle record for the Tech-Priest, and he goes over some of the equipment he has. The Omniscient Axe, which is a sort of the symbol of the Mechanicus. It's one of the most prestigious weapons, and he is a Volkite Blaster. It's a technology that's very rare in the Imperium. And he's followed by a little servo skull and has a special phosphor revolver weapon as well. Obviously you can give him a name and name his equipment and so forth. Then more background on Tech-Priests in general. So Tech-Priests are the leaders, the upper echelons of the Mechanicus. They know all sorts of ancient knowledge and endlessly seek to acquire more. And they're also much more heavily augmented, because to do so is holy. It brings them closer to the Omnissiah. Some of them are so augmented that they barely even look human anymore. And they usually speak in various machine languages that regular humans couldn't possibly understand. And there are different holy orders who specialise in different things like information technology or manufacturing or biology, that sort of thing. So there are many more tech priests and there are many roles they occupy. But then we have the build guide for the Tech-Priest Dominus. Relatively easy to put together. You do need to be a little bit careful with all the cables that you can potentially snap off, but it's not quite as bad as the Skitarii Rangers were. There are some weapon options, but you do give this one the Serpenta and the Volkite Blaster. I think he has an alternate option for each one. And you might consider leaving him off the base just to make getting in under all the robes a little bit easier. And then the painting guide is fairly similar to the other Skitarii, starting off with lead belcher because there's quite a lot of mechanical parts, and then going over brass for all the details and corn red for his robes. And also Rakoff Fresh for the lining to his robe, his service skull, and you could probably do his creepy little arm, his last vestige of humanity left as well. And like the Skitarii, has Mechanica symbols, not quite as small, so it's a bit easier to paint them. And he also has some strange glass tanks on his back you paint with white as well. So there's a fair amount of detail to him. It's actually adding some Null oil as well to the other Skitarii in the process, and going over cream parts of them, like their purity seal papers. And also actually we're recessed shading the robes as well, so it brings out all the detail and the depth, because there's a lot more of it for the Tech Priests than there were on the Rangers. For that little look over, we can finally learn the rules for our Tech Priest.
So first up in our rules for this game we have the datasheet for the Tech-Priest Dominus model. You can see his stat line. He has a 6-inch move, a weapon skill of 3+, and a ballistic skill of 2+, so he's better at shooting. Strength toughness 4 with 5 wounds, only 3 melee attacks, a leadership of 8 and a 2+ save. The weapons that the magazine tells us to equip him with are the Phosphor Serpenta, which is an assault 1, strength 5, AP -1, 1 damage weapon. Targets don't receive the benefits of dense cover against that attack. We don't know what that means yet. His main gun is a Volkite Blaster, which is a bit like the Lieutenant's Volkite pistol, but it's a bit more powerful. It's a heavy 3 weapon, which is strength 6 and 2 damage, and unmodified wound roll 6 inflicts 2 mortal wounds in addition to normal damage. And finally his axe gives him +2 strength with -2 AP, and it does 2 damage in melee. Because he is a master of machines, he can repair friendly Mars models within 3 inches of him, and he does that at the end of the movement phase, and a wounded model can regain up to D3 lost wounds. That does include himself, because he is a Mars model within 3 inches of himself, so he can fix himself if he takes damage. He has a refractor field, which gives him a 5+ invulnerable save, and his Lord of the Machine Cult aura allows friendly Mars core units, which in this game will be Skitarii Rangers, within 6 inches of him can reroll hit rolls of 1. And over the page we just have a tutorial for that, so here's his Lord of the Machine Cult aura. We know how auras work already. His Master of the Machines, then how that works to repair units. Then we have more of our core rules. This basic rules section just defines some key concepts. So missions and armies are just the game you're playing and the models you're playing them with respectively. I won't go over that in any detail, it's pretty obvious. It also mentions data sheets at the bottom, we know what those are. And over the page there's a formal definition of keywords, which we've seen all of before, and what to do when you have keywords in angle brackets. You pick your own, for example Space Marine chapters or Chaos Marine legions. And then a definition of a unit, which is just a group of models from the same datasheet, and it also goes over exactly what friendly models and enemy models and units means. And then we have the background for our mission. So the Necrons have taken over a region of the moon of Tsiphos called Sector Epta. It's an industrial area full of cargo containers and similar things. And the Adeptus Mechanicus forces, led by a Tech-Priest Dominus, are attempting to force them out again. And the mission briefing mentions for the Necrons that it's a force of elite Necron immortals led by a Royal Warden, which doesn't agree with the mission, as we'll see over the page. They have taken over the area, and the Adeptus Mechanicus are attempting to destroy them. The only acceptable outcome is the complete annihilation of the xenos. And then we have the next mission in our Scout mission pack, Cleanse Sector Epta. The forces in play, it says here 5 Necron warriors and 1 Royal Warden, not 5 Necron immortals, which is what the background seems to imply. That seems to be what they intended, and this just looks like a mistake, but we'll go with what it says here for now. And the Adeptus Mechanicus have Tech-Priest Dominus and 10 Skitarii Rangers. We're using the white side of our battle map for this game, and we're placing the Munitorum Armor's containers on it in the locations, as you can see there with the measurements, to show you exactly where to put them. Each side has a 3-inch deployment zone on the short edges. And the mission objective is annihilate the enemy, quite simply that the game ends when one side has no models left, so there's no turn limit or anything. So, very straightforward. We will get the battlefield set up and then get straight into the game. Here's an aerial view of our battlefield. You can see the containers which we've deployed in the specified places, and then the deployment. I had to deploy a unit first, and I deployed my 5 Necron warriors, which I picked the ones with the Gauss flayers for this game because they got longer range, and they are behind this box where they're out of sight. And in response, the Adeptus Mechanicus deployed the Skitarii behind the other box, so there's no line of sight for anybody at the beginning of the game, whoever gets to go first, and the Tech-Priest Dominus is there, and you saw the Royal Warden in position by the Necron Warriors as well. And since the mission doesn't specify otherwise, we fall back on the Scout mission pack, which tells us that we roll off to see who gets to go first, or gets to decide. I've rolled a 5.
I rolled a 3.
And I'm going to go first, so we'll be on to Necron's turn 1, but we won't count the turns because it just goes on until one side is destroyed. So nothing to do with my command phase. In the movement phase, we've moved out from behind the box. And then in the shooting phase, everybody is in range. 1 Necron can't see anybody to shoot at, so we'll have 4 Necrons shooting at the Skitarii Rangers to start with. So 4 shots hitting on 3s. No, 1 hit. Wounds on a 3? It does not. Well, we'll just do the Royal Warden at them instead. He's got 2 shots at this range, hitting on 3s. He gets 2 hits at least. He wounds on 3s as well. He gets 1 wound with an AP of -2.
So 6 plus save. Nope. So that's a dead Skitarii. Take away this one.
But that's not enough to require a morale test, and that's the end of my turn. So we'll be on to the Adeptus Mechanicus turn.
So I've moved my Skitarii up, some of them up onto the box. Basically all the important people with special weapons are over at the end, and the riflemen are on the other end, on top of the box. The sniper didn't need to move to see anyone, but unfortunately since his squad moved, he counts as moving, so I might as well move him up as well. And then the Tech-Priest has scuttled in behind them, so that he can't get picked off on the end there. So I think I'm actually going to pick the Dominus to go first, because if I do the Skitarii they might kill enough warriors so that he'll be out of range of anything. So he has 3 shots with his Volkite Blaster. Spencer's not going to be in range. Hitting on 3s because it's a heavy weapon and he moved, so he gets -1 to hit. Makes a difference, he only gets 2 hits. Wounded on 3s because it's strength 6, he gets a wound.
And no armor penetration, so a 4+ save, which are fast.
So now the Skitarii Rangers are going to shoot at the warriors, except for the sniper who's going to use his sniper rifle to shoot the Royal Warden, because he ignores lookouts with that weapon. So you've got 10 shots with galvanic rifles, hitting on 4s because we moved, because they're heavy weapons, but rerolling 1s because of the Tech-Priest. We can reroll that 1. Oh, into a hit. So that's 6 hits. Wounding on 4s, getting 2.
So 5+ saves, made 1, failed 1. We don't do reanimations until everybody has fired.
A single shot from the arc rifle, that hits on a 3, rerolling 1s because it's a rapid fire weapon. But you hit. Wounds on a 3. It does. -2 AP.
So 6 to save. Nope, it's 2 dead so far.
And then the Plasma Caliber has 2 shots. I'm not going to supercharge because there's no reason to. He's also hit on 3s because it's an assault weapon and rerolling 1s. Yep, reroll that 1. 1 hit. Wounds on a 3. It doesn't. And then the Arquebus hits on a 4 because it is a heavy weapon. Single shot. Rerolling 1s. He missed.
And I did lose 2 Necrons, so I'll take away the ones that are at the back, and then we'll see if they can reanimate. 2 reanimations on 5s, rerolling 1s. We've got 1 back. And that Necron will come back at the front of the unit like that. They don't need to make a morale test either, and that's all from the Adeptus Mechanicus, so back to the Necron turn. Nothing to do in the command phase, and then we're just going to continue our relentless march up the field in the movement phase, and then we'll do the Necron Warriors first, shooting at the Skitarii Rangers. Front one is in range to shoot twice, so we've got 5 shots hitting on 3s. Well, slightly better than last time, we've got 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, 1 wound.
-1 AP, so 5+ save. Ooh, made it.
And then the Royal Warden will have a go. He's not within 15 inches, so 2 shots hitting on 3s. Well, he gets 1 hit. He wounds on 3 as well. He does.
6+. Oh!
No damage at all. Then we come to the charge phase, and I will actually declare a charge with the Necron warriors. They're within 12 inches, so they can do that, because there's not really anything to lose, and it would stop the Skitarii from shooting, and they're not very good in melee. I need to roll about a 10. Oh, I did. That might actually be enough. And that brings them to there, and this is a legal charge, because remember that engagement range is, as long as you're within an inch horizontally, you can be up to 5 inches vertically. So they does meet that condition, so they have engaged the Skitarii rangers. And then in the fighting phase, they will pile in and attack. Piling in like this, we can get everybody in range to attack that Skitarii ranger, but hopefully limiting the attacks coming back.
Minor correction here, the back 2 Necrons probably wouldn't have been in range to attack, because actually models are eligible to fight only if they are themselves within engagement range or within half an inch of a model who is within half an inch. So while the front 2 models are definitely within an engagement range, being within an inch horizontally and 5 inches vertically, they are not within half an inch of an enemy model, and so the back models would not be eligible to fight. Fortunately, Necron warriors are not very good in melee anyway, so it wouldn't have made a great deal of difference, and I could probably have piled in to get them within engagement range and get the same number of attacks. So not a big deal, but just correcting it for the record.
We've got 4 attacks hitting on 3s. Not really any better than melee, there's only 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, just the 1.
4+ armor save. Made it. So piling in, basically it's just these 4 on the end, because these 3 are all within half an inch of this guy who can fight down. So we've got 3 regular rangers and then the alpha with his maul.
And again, the same mistake as before, while the front model is within engagement range, it's not within half an inch of an enemy model, so at least one of the Skitarii wouldn't actually be able to fight. But again, they could probably have piled in differently to get the same number of attacks, and they only have 1 attack each anyway, so it's not exactly game breaking.
I'll do the regular rangers. 1 attack each, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s because of the Tech-Priest. Oh, we got 3 hits. Wounding on 5s because we're not very strong. 2 wounds.
2 4+ armor saves. Oh, I made both.
Right. And then the alpha with his maul has 2 attacks hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. Another 1. To a hit. Wounding on 3s because he's strength 6 with his maul. 2 wounds.
Right, it's actually AP -2, so 6 is to save. Oh, I made 1. So 1 Necron dies, I'll just roll its reanimation. Oh, it did. So nobody at all dies in the entire turn. We took away the one that was here and brought it back on the other side of those 2 Necron warriors. But that is the end of the fighting. There's no morale test necessary because nobody died at all. And so we're on to the Adeptus Mechanicus turn.
So in my movement phase, the only movement is the Tech-Priest Dominus is going to move 6 inches around the box to get to try and get into melee with the Necrons. Yeah, they're not going to fall back. Could fall them back around the box so the Brawn can shoot them, but it's going to be inconvenient. I think I'm just going to try and tough it out in melee. Then in the shooting phase, the Ranger Alpha can fire his Phosphor Blast Pistol, which has D3 shots. For 1, it hits on the 3 rerolling 1s. He hit. It wounds on the 3 because it's strength 5. It does not wound. Then in the charge phase, the Tech-Priest Dominus will try to charge the Necrons. Well, a 10 is definitely enough. He'll get himself to there.
And he charges, so he gets to strike first.
Yep. He has 3 attacks with his axe, hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits.
He doesn't roll away that one because he is not a core unit.
Yeah, can't inspire himself. Strength 6, so he's wounding on 3s. 2 wounds.
He has AP -2, so 6 is to save. No 6s, so that's 2 dead. So I'll just roll the reanimation now, I suppose. 1 gets back up. We'll kill the one that died last turn again, and put it back over here this time.
Whoa.
And then that one will actually die. But then it's the Adeptus Mechanicus turn, so the Necrons get to fight back, and all 3 warriors will put their attacks on the Skitarii Rangers. 3 attacks, hitting on 3s. 1 hit. Wounding on 3. No, it didn't wound.
The Rangers aren't going to pile in, so we're just going to fight back with the same ones as last time. So 3 normal Rangers, hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. 2 hits. Wounding on 5s. Nope. And then the Alpha with his maul. 2 attacks hitting on 4s, rerolling 1s. 1 hit. Wounds on a 3. It does.
6 to save. Nope. Does it reanimate? No, doesn't. This Necron warrior will die. They only lost 2 models, so no morale test. And then we'll be on to the Necron turn. In my command phase, unfortunately, I couldn't use the adaptive strategy ability because the Necron warriors weren't in range, so they're just going to have to fall back normally and not shoot. Royal Warden moved up, but he can shoot, and he has to shoot the Skitarii Rangers because the Tech-Priest Dominus is not the closest target. He has 4 shots at this range, hitting on 3s. He gets 3 hits. He wounds on 3s. 1 wound with an AP -2.
6 to save. No. I'll take away this guy.
I can't do anything else, so we'll be back to the Adeptus Mechanicus turn.
So my movement phase, the Rangers will stay where they are, and then the Tech-Priest Dominus will move out, staying an inch away from the Warriors and staying within 6 inches of the Rangers. Then in the shooting phase, start with the Dominus. He's actually going to shoot at the Raw Warden, because I might be able to do some mortal wounds with the Volkite Blaster. So I've got 3 shots with the Blaster hitting on 3s, getting 2 hits. Wounding on 3s, got strength 6, and 6s to wound, do 2 mortal wounds in addition. Just 1 wound.
No AP, so he has a 3+ save, which he made.
And then the Serpenta's going to shoot at him as well, hitting on a 2. Oh, he missed. Then with the Rangers, I think the Alpha and the Rifleman will shoot at the Warriors. The Sniper, the Arc Rifle and the Plasma will shoot at the Royal Warden. So we've got 8 shots with rifles, hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s at the Warriors. Ooh, that's a lot of 1s, good job we can reroll. That's better, 7 hits. Wounding on 4s, getting 2.
5+ saves, made 1, failed 1. Still a gun to come at them.
Yeah, and then the Blast Pistol gets D3 shots for 2, hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. Ooh, 1 hit. Wounds on 3, it does.
5 to save, nope.
And they're dead.
And they're dead, and so they can't reanimate.
I'll do the Plasma Caliber first. I'm not going to supercharge. I'm supposed to say when I assign it. Well, I wasn't going to anyway. 2 shots hitting on 3s, rolling 1s. You hit twice. Wounding on 3s. 2 wounds.
2 6+ saves. Made neither. That's 2 damage so far.
Should have supercharged, otherwise he would have been dead. 2 Arc Rifle shots hitting on 3s, rerolling 1s, they both hit. Wounding on 3s, 1 wound.
5 to save against this. Oh, I did save that.
And finally the Arquebus, 1 shot hitting on a 3, rerolling 1s. He rerolls that 1 into a miss.
So we've got 2 dead Necron warriors, and the Royal Warden is down to 2 wounds.
And then in the charge phase, the Tech-Priest Dominus will charge the Royal Warden.
I think the 3 is enough, even with the extra dice.
Yes, 7's definitely enough. So the Tech-Priest is actually going to go around that side, just to make running away a tiny bit more inconvenient, and then gets to fight first because he charges and he'll pile in. 3 attacks, hitting on 3s, 2 hits, wounding on 3s, 2 wounds.
Need to make 2 5+s to live. No, only made 1. It's a 2 damage weapon, and he's only got 2 wounds left, so the Royal Warden is killed. So that is the destruction of the Necron force, and a victory for the Adeptus Mechanicus. Not a great result for the Necrons, but I don't think the Immortals would have actually done very much better. But we'll discuss that all for you as we recap all that for you now. Well, that was the game from issue 26 of Warhammer 40,000 Imperium magazine. How did you think that went?
Well, I probably expected to lose a few more Rangers.
Yeah, my Necron Warriors couldn't hit with anything.
Yeah, I think you just rolled poorly.
I'm not sure if actually declaring that charge ultimately was a good idea. I thought it would be good to stop the Rangers shooting, but Necron Warriors are so bad in melee that it didn't really matter.
It's probably a good strategy if you had more units.
It would have also been better if the Royal Warden had been closer to be able to use his ability, but that's just not how it went.
I don't think he rolled very well either. I think he only got 1 wound fairly consistently, and I even saved 1.
Thing is, if I hadn't made that charge, you would have had a full round of shooting at close range against the Necron Warriors, and they probably would have just died, and then the Royal Warden can't do it by himself. So I feel like probably the Adeptus Mechanicus would have the advantage either way. And that was even without them going first as well. If they'd gone first, they could have shot with no response.
I mean, it's just a less efficient round of shooting, but still.
And I think that would have been the case even if it was Immortals anyway, with the amount of firepower you had. Because we saw when we first got the Skitarii Rangers that 10 Necron Warriors will beat the Rangers, probably more often than lose to them. But 5, even with 5 Immortals, I think, it's not going to make a difference.
It's more down to the number of wounds you have. Their toughness would help against galvanic rifles, and their improved save would help out. But I think you rolled a lot of 5s and 6s for your saves anyway. But I suppose my sniper didn't do anything. The Volkite Blaster didn't do very well either. I would say Immortals are slightly more vulnerable to mortal wounds than Warriors are.
And it also comes down to the way the Immortals' guns work. They're not wounding the Skitarii Rangers on any better number than a Gauss Flayer. They do have more AP, but whereas against Space Marines, the Immortals are clearly better than Necron Warriors, against Skitarii Rangers, their advantages are not as pronounced.
Yeah, you would have had a similar number of shots as well. Might have had a couple more in the second round of shooting.
But the thing is, if they'd shot as well as the Necron Warriors did, it wouldn't have made any difference anyway, because the Necron Warriors were useless, and they still only have 1 wound and they get up on 5s like Warriors, but they don't reroll 1s. So
yeah, they're less likely to get back up, and you're not getting really that much more damage. I think the main difference would be Immortals actually have 2 melee attacks, so they might actually do much better in melee.
It may be that they immediately had it with Immortals and then decided the Immortals were too good, possibly, and then they changed it but forgot to change the text. Who knows?
The Tech-Priest Dominus, he's basically the equivalent to the Space Marine Captain for the Mechanicus. Rerolling 1s to hit is very handy. It's very handy with plasma weapons because you can potentially avert getting blown up, so it reduces the risk. Basically turns it from a 1 in 6 to a 1 in 36 chance. So it does make it worth overcharging plasma weapons with him around.
And as you might imagine, the Adeptus Mechanicus is a very shooty faction, and so having him nearby bolstering all your shooting makes a lot of things much more effective.
Yeah, you can imagine getting him in range of 2 or maybe 3 squads of rangers, and just how much more efficient you'll make the rangers then. And his ability to repair is handy. It doesn't work on Skitarii rangers because they only have 1 wound. But it does work on himself. It does make him more durable than he appears if you can't kill him outright. And he has a 2+ save as well. Other than that, I mean, he's not as good in combat directly as the captain. He doesn't have as many attacks.
He's better than Necron warriors in melee, but he's not going to be on a par
Yeah,
with
he
his
only hits
Space
on
Marine.
3s. And he only has a 5+ invulnerable save as well.
And his personal guns are okay, I suppose. The Phosphor Serpenta's just going to be a one-shot that will do something occasionally. The Volkite gun, it can do very well if you roll mortal wounds, but a lot of the time the lack of AP isn't going to do very much. He's a bit more of a support character.
And I really like the model. I always like how the human faction ends up looking less human than the alien faction, because the Dominus barely looks human anymore.
Yeah, it's a very creepy kind of look with all the tentacled limbs and everything and hunched back, multiple arms.
And it's also worth mentioning that this is very good value for money. I think Tech-Priest Dominus is usually about £20 to 25. That's usually about the price for a character these days. So he's good value for money, and he could easily fit in another one. I mean, it comes with a different head option as well as different weapon options, so you can have a few different flavours of Tech-Priest, and it's certainly worth having more than one as well.
Anyway, I think that'll be it for this video, so if you enjoyed this video then do leave a like and subscribe. If you played this game, let us know how you got on. Let us know what you think about whether the Immortals would have done any better.
Yeah.
But we've been the Tabletop Donkeys, and we'll see you in the next one.
Bye for now.